From the very beginning of Bob's Burgers, with their first ever episode, Human Flesh, which first aired in January 2011 and involves the business being investigated over claims that its burgers were made out of people, it was clear that the series would be full of strange, ridiculous drama. And indeed, over the show's long run, the family have had numerous wild misadventures. One of the most entertaining of these is the 5th episode of the 4th season, the Thanksgiving special Turkey in a Can, which first aired in November 2013. In the installment, Bob slowly begins to lose his mind after his preparations for the upcoming Thanksgiving keep getting ruined by someone when they repeatedly sabotage his plans by putting each and every turkey he buys and meticulously prepares into the toilet.
Oh my god, no!
The episode is widely considered one of the best of the entire series for a number of good reasons, ranging from the truly original premise, the rapid-fire jokes, and, arguably most of all, the perfect balance of absurdity and poignancy resulting in one of the weirdest, and quite possibly the greatest, Thanksgiving episodes to ever air on television.
There was something in the toilet and I sat on it and it was cold and now I don't know if I'll ever be able to go to the bathroom again.
The Turkey in the Can episode opens with Bob excitedly preparing his 3-day brine for that year's Thanksgiving turkey. Bob is looking forward to the holiday, but he's frustrated that his sister-in-law Gail, along with her cats, is staying with them.
I'm not hitting them. I'm petting their rear legs.
Because Bob is allergic to the felines, he starts taking medication. Although Bob just wants to focus on preparing his turkey, he's repeatedly distracted. Jean notices that there aren't any novelty songs for Thanksgiving, so he decides to write the ultimate piece for the holiday. Also, this year, Tina insists that she should get to sit at the adults' table, which annoys Bob because he doesn't think she's old enough yet. The next morning, to his horror, Bob discovers that someone put his beloved turkey in the toilet.
Oh no.
Get it out of their letterbox, quick, Bob! They're vegetarian!
Furious, he scolds everyone, especially Louise, who everyone assumes is a culprit. Still, ultimately, the family insists that none of them did it. Bob resigns to the fact that he'll have to do a 2-day brine and buys a new turkey. Meanwhile, Louise makes a list of suspects for the crime, while Gene enlists his mother and Gail to help him out with these Thanksgiving songs, and Tina begins trying to dress and act more mature.
I've been working on Tina's talking points. How's this one? In this economy?
The next morning, Bob is horrified to find the second turkey in the toilet. Again, no one confesses to the crime. Bob returns to the local store, though this time he purchases 2 turkeys, reasoning that one will serve as a decoy while the other will be the real Thanksgiving turkey, which he'll keep in the downstairs restaurant fridge. Also, Bob decides to hide in the kitchen, staying awake in order to catch the culprit. However, Bob falls asleep, and the next morning, he finds both turkeys in the toilet.
Sorry for your loss.
Bob is convinced that Linda must be guilty, as she's the only person he told his plan to. But Linda swears that she's innocent because she told everyone about Bob's plan, which, again, makes everyone a suspect. Bob is determined not to let the culprit prevent him from cooking a turkey and purchases yet another one. Finally, Bob manages to successfully cook a turkey in time for Thanksgiving, not having slept, in order to prepare it. Before dinner starts, Louise claims to have solved the mystery, blaming Jean and Tina, though she ends up proving her own theory wrong. Bob just wants to eat, but Gail and Linda insist on singing Jean's Thanksgiving carol.
Bravery, savory, sailor folk!
Sailors in your mouth!
Exhausted from staying up all night, Bob falls asleep and begins to sleepwalk with the turkey. The family follow him as he takes the turkey into the toilet and calls it Tina. Linda realizes that Bob is reliving potty training his eldest daughter.
Wow, Tina, you really had to go.
Ah! We're losing stuffing!
Later, the family discover that Bob's sleepwalking is the result of the side effects of the pills he's been taking for his cat allergies. Bob realizes that his anxieties over Tina growing up manifested into him trying to relive potty training her. Tina tries to comfort Bob.
Just because I've got the hang of pooping and peeing in the potty doesn't mean I don't need your help with other things.
The following night, Bob begins sleepwalking again, though this time he's reliving potty training Gene with one of Gail's cats in place of his son.
A turkey in every toilet. Only in America, huh guys?
The Turkey in the Can episode was written by Lizzie and Wendy Molyneux and directed by Boo Won and Young Hee Lim. Boo Won had been with Bob's Burgers right from the start of the show and directed a variety of acclaimed episodes, such as Burger War, the 10th installment of the show when Bob's arch-rival Jimmy Pesto adds burgers to his menu, which first aired in April 2011.
Time to go win back the restaurant! Linda? Kids?
Like Boo-won, Young-hee had also been with the show from the start of the series and had directed a number of celebrated installments, including the highly acclaimed second episode of the show, Crawl Space, when Bob gets stuck in the walls of his restaurant while trying to avoid his in-laws, which first aired in January 2011.
Here's Bobby! I found him.
From the second season onwards, Boo-won and Young-hee would collaborate as directors, producing numerous acclaimed episodes, such as the first episode of the second season, The Belchies, the parody tribute to the 1985 film The Goonies, when Bob's kids hunt for treasure in an abandoned taffy factory that originally aired in March 2012.
Do you really want your last words to be sarcastic?
No!
The Molyneux sisters had been with the show as members of the writing staff since the very beginning of the series, back in January 2011. Prior to Turkey in the Can, they'd been the main writers on just one episode of Bob's Burgers, though that installment was an instant classic, the 21st episode of the third season, Boys for Now, which originally aired in April 2013. The installment revolves around Louise struggling to come to terms with the fact that she has a crush on a member of a boy band. The episode was widely praised for both developing Louise as a character and dealing with the complex and confusing aspects of growing up in such an inventive and unusual way, given that Louise ends up expressing her feelings in a very distinct fashion. Ultimately, when it came to producing Turkey in a Can, the Molyneux sisters applied the same creativity and twisted humor that they had demonstrated in Boys for Now, which would also later be on display when they co-created The Great North in 2021.
I can't wait to get diarrhea together again, Dad.
The subtle foreshadowing in the episode is especially clever. As Bob prepares his first turkey, he refers to himself as Father of the Brine. The name is a reference to the movie Father of the Bride, the 1991 remake of the 1950 film of the same name, which, like Turkey in a Can, details a father who struggles to accept his daughter is growing up.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
I met a man in Rome, and he's wonderful and brilliant, and we're getting married.
Also, when Bob first rants about Thanksgiving being ruined, he does so while taking the allergy pills, which will ultimately lead to him sleepwalking and, thus, ruining the holiday for him. Ultimately, most of all, the Molyneux sisters managed to well and truly amp up the absurdity of an already over-the-top show without sacrificing the inherent poignancy of the main story. Overall, the episode is effectively a murder mystery as Bob is slowly driven crazy as he becomes more and more desperate to solve the puzzle. But beyond the main story, the episode is threaded with classic character-defining jokes, especially from Teddy.
Guys, I found the picture. Right in the head.
Oh my god.
There's also the subplot of Bob and the Butcher, who interprets Bob's repeated trips to the local store as an excuse to see him.
Suppose you want another turkey.
Despite being married with kids, Bob's at least somewhat open to the Butcher's advances, which saw him embraced as a bisexual icon by some of the show's fans.
You don't go to the beach? Huh?
No, maybe. Wait, I'm straight. I mean, I'm mostly straight.
Ultimately, while Turkey in the Can does indeed wrap up with the same emotion-infused conclusion that you expect from a typical Thanksgiving episode, it's done so in such an inventive and strange way that the episode was all but guaranteed to become a holiday classic for a variety of reasons, ranging from the unique story to the solid jokes to the strange character interactions.
Gene, stop!
We need to get rid of the body. What if someone sees?
Stop.
When it comes to sitcom holiday specials, Thanksgiving is full of comedic potential more so than most other celebrations, especially when it relates to issues between family members due to the boiling over of suppressed emotions, followed by reflection, lessons learned, and, finally, forgiveness over a communal meal.
But what we're most thankful for is being part of a family who really loves each other.
While the mystery behind the turkeys was one of the most creative stories ever told on a sitcom, the episode also thrives with its smaller stories as the characters play off one another perfectly.
Why does everyone want to eat food from the toilet all of a sudden?
Impressively, although profoundly weird, Turkey in a Can is still realistic enough to be relatable, with a message that's poignant without being preachy or overly sentimental. Most of all, rather than wrapping things up with some boring, painfully obvious spoon-fed lesson about being thankful, as many Thanksgiving sitcom specials often do, Turkey in the Can ends with a simple but powerful observation about parents and their children, and the value of remembering the past, living in the moment, and looking forward to the future, because it's all of equal importance when it comes to the ones that you care for.
What's happening? Who's fighting me?
It's your friend!
Why does everyone want to eat food from the toilet all of a sudden?